Greetings. This is Elder Blacklight. I'm your motivator. I'm going to name this the Midnight Rendezvous. You know, I got on my boxer's robe and getting ready to go to bed. And what I plan on doing tonight is just briefing you on my history. This is your elder brother, 72 years on the planet. And in this briefing, I'm going to also show you how the United States is based on gangsterism, the con gang, but it's sophisticated. It's a science behind it. And let's begin with this. The Caucasian, before he went to the caves, we was trying to cohabitate with him and live in peace with him, but he was made to be a devil, a trickster, a liar. And he'd always like to start trouble. And so we sent him to the caves of Europe. He lost all knowledge of self, like we doing today, like the black man that lost all knowledge of self, and the black man is becoming a savage also. We lost all our science. We lost all of our consciousness. Well, to see that word consciousness, is in, it's in consciousness. Really, it's science. And it's self-hypnosis and, how to confirm something into reality. Like a prayer. A prayer is really confirmation. But anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. Because everything is dealing with the mind first, with the thoughts. So when the Caucasian came out the caves, then you got your Greeks. They were living with the brothers that were over there in Greece, in the Mediterranean area, which was also a part of Africa. And we civilized them, gave them our knowledge. So when they came over here to America, after, so many centuries, they grew into the knowledge of science and mathematics because we gave it to them. But they was hustlers because coming out the caves, man, you had to live. It wasn't very little you could do with them, with that kind of terrain, that kind of, hillside. You couldn't grow nothing, so you had to, hustle, man. Really, you had to, you had to eat, so you had to anything you can to survive, And that mentality and that type of nature been in them up until the time they came over to the Americas. And they knew how to con and run game and trick and lie and kill, murder better than anybody else because they didn't have no soul and no mercy. So now this is where your pimping and your hoeing come from in the very beginnings of the slave trade and them building up America. They had sex farms like they do now. And the young black buck, we had to break uh, a black virgin in for the master, but he couldn't give her no baby. He couldn't bust in her. He couldn't put his sperm in her. He had to hold back because if he put that sperm in her, they would chop his Johnson off. Y'all know what that is, you know. And so he knew how to hold it in, you know. And uh, as time went on, the Caucasians started building up towns because, you know, when they started mining for gold and silver or whatever, they had little mining towns. They had cattle towns because they was hustling the cattle. And they had different little towns, but in these towns they would have a bar, and they would have, in that bar would be a whole house, you know. And in that whole house you have a pimp or a madam. And so they did this for many years. And then you had the cowboys who were basically your gangsters working for corporate, the cow corporate America, you know, the meat packing industry. And they would come into town and, you know, make it rain, or the little barmaids or whatever. They had 2 or 3 jobs. They could barmaid, they could, you know, dance, and then they could hoe, you know. So uh, we following after them though. The black man, you know, once we got cut loose from slavery and we lost knowledge of self, we following after them to survive. So that's why we started pimping, you know. And our women started hoeing too. Now the Indians was on reservations, so they kind of kept they a little bit of the civilization intact, their culture intact. So even though some squaws or whatever women might go bust out of the reservation and go to the town and turn a few tricks or whatever, but for the most part they tried to keep their culture pure, and we just started taking after them. So whatever the mafia did to make money, we did. All except the numbers game. The numbers game came strictly. I think we invented the numbers game, and then the mafia just took it over. But the gambling, the casinos, the whole houses, you know, and all this freakiness, animal stuff, the Caucasians, that's their thing. They freak with sheeps and cows and anything they could freak with. And that's why you got some weird looking people, weird looking Caucasians nowadays, with a whole bunch of hair covering all of, you know, Wolfman and all like that. So right now, you know, the Jobs is drying up. So the Caucasian, he goes over and gets dope, bring it back over here, and give it to these young brothers to sell. But they don't know that the Caucasian is doing it. See, the Caucasian, he done got so he don't have to uh, do it himself no more, sell it himself. He got people distributing it for him. You know, it could be any nationality. You know, and then he in cahoots with the other big nations like China and Russia. You know, and they basically, in the same game together, and it's a friendly competition to keep the citizens in check. You know, so this is where we're going on the next video. We're gonna pick up where we left off, and we're gonna show you how all of this is happening in your neighborhoods, while you got us killing each other. We just taking after them, that's all. But stay tuned for the next Black Light Midnight Chat.